I'm Hallie Levant, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every single week we're giving our mega church a tiny family feel. We love to introduce you to members of our church staff, people from our community, and I always think it's a treat and a treasure. Well, per usual, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the youth pastor for our high school ministry called Climax. Please welcome Gray Haas.
I'm down with God. Yeah, you know me, Hallie. How are you?
Too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed, and way too grateful to be hateful. Well, just like they were grinding the nails into Jesus' hands, our guest today is grinding out on the half pipe. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Mike Burke. Welcome to the program. How you feeling today, sir? Pretty gnarly?
I'm feeling blessed and gnarly as always. So good to see y'all.
Oh, welcome. Oh, you're a ray of sunshine. I'm so excited to learn all about the stuff that the kids are into, because that's important to stay up with, isn't it?
Oh, you got here. I'll give you a fun one. It's like my kids would say. This podcast really slaps. No cap.
Oh, yeah. That is awesome.
Well, Mike, you are just, you are sort of a pseudo celebrity around these parts, because all of my teens who are into skateboarding all know Mike Bach. He is running what we call Heaven is a Half Pipe Ministries down there at the skate park, which you've not only built but expanded. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, recently we had, what did we put? We put a 10-foot bowl and a new elbow and we got a new kidney bowl rolling. It's 10 feet, 12 feet, or 2 feet of vert, and then 6 feet and 2 feet of vert in the shallow end. So this thing is gnarly, y'all.
Okay, I don't know what any of that meant, but it sounds so fun.
It's cool.
I tell you what, Greg, I didn't know either, because I hated skateboarding.
Really?
I hated it more than most people, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
you actually had a hatred for it. You did not even you weren't just neutral about it.
Exactly right. I thought it just loud, and I thought those kids were delinquents, and honestly, I still feel that way. but that's sort of part of what we do here, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like these kids, they're little feral, little evil monsters, and they all got knives, and they're addicted to porn or whatever they're into. I know it
grieves the heart of God.
It's true. It's truly dark and sad. It really is. But then they come with us, and then we say, hey, you know who loves you even though you're a monster, and even though it's people like you that killed Jesus? God did. Awesome. God loves you so much. So why don't you come learn your rock to fakies and your front side Smith grinds? See, that's the thing. Now I know I still can't skate, but I know all the terminology, and that helps convince the kids that I do like them.
Wow.
Amazing. And I guess
you're speaking their language.
And that's a good,
right.
I guess the follow-up is that an artificial elbow? Because a lot of my kids have said that your arm is, that you have a whole thing about your robot arm. Did you get that when you tried to skate?
It's the one time I stepped on a skateboard. Yeah, it was. And we had video footage of it, and it is brutal and humiliating. I begged the kids to erase the footage from their phone, and they wouldn't. But yeah, what happens is I step on the skateboard, it fires out, and I land directly on my elbow and shattered my elbow and my femur. Ooh. And in the footage, it's the closest I ever got to cussing. I go, gosh darn it! I scream and gosh darn it as they pull me. Yeah, they pull me into the ambulance, and I'm screaming, this is your fault, kids. You did this, you little nightmare freaks, you know. So.
Oh, wow.
That's understandable. Wow.
Well, I do think there is a need for this ministry because, like you said, a lot of people, what's this sort of type of person that is attracted to skateboarding? Because I've always just looked at them as, the teens who I kind of wish wouldn't show up to Climax, but they do. A lot of them, I just would love to know what you think the type of person that skateboards is.
That's right. Thank you so much. A beautiful question. I think generally they are very ungrateful. Okay. They tend to be cruel. They tend to not know how to read particularly well or spell. A lot of times Children's Protective Services say that they are poverty-stricken or that they come from abusive homes or their parents have addiction problems. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's the kid's fault. I mean, you have to ask those kind of questions, right? It's like, is it possible they're not hitting these kids enough?
Well, see, that's the thing.
And do you hit them?
I actually am no longer allowed to hit them, Gray. Thank you for asking. That's been an important. We had a couple of pretty nasty visits from our local beautiful police officers, and they put me in my place, and I deserve it. I was slapping these kids all over the map. I was slapping the kids.
Oh, that's good. And having that right taken away from you, it really grieves the heart of Dobson. So, anyway, I just wanted to say, Mike, I think that Heaven is a Half Pipe is one of the examples of what makes Twin Hills truly great. Because you know what? We don't shy away from popular culture and the things that the kids want to do. But instead, we embrace it and we say, hey, if you're going to be doing this nonsense, guess what? You're going to be doing it on our campus and you're going to be doing it in a God honoring way. And I think that is what makes us innovative and, at the forefront of we're ahead of Google and all of them, if you ask me. And anyway, speaking of Google, I wanted to ask about kids and their phones. I mean, in one way, you would say it's good that these kids are on a skateboard because it means they're not staring at a screen and having some kind of invasive, wasp species eat their brain from the inside out or whatever social media is now, some sort of parasitic wasp in your brain. But, what do you say? Well, you've learned all the where the fuck am I going with this? Hold on. I had a point. Fucking phones. Oh yeah. Wait. Oh yeah. What do you say to these kids who now say, I don't have to listen to you grown-ups. I don't even need an education because phones are making education and spelling and reading irrelevant. What do you say to these kids?
Well, that's what's so nice about having something that these kids love, like skateboarding, to sort of exploit for them. So what I do is if they're going to skate, for every hour they skate, they have to listen to me preach for an hour.
Awesome.
And now sometimes that's just me talking about, our beautiful book that we have. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called the Bible.
Oh, that is fun. That is really fun.
I laugh because of course you heard of it.
Yeah,
so
I have heard it. I use it all the time.
God, I didn't see that coming.
That is good.
So sometimes it's that. It's me talking about the Bible, and sometimes it's them watching my pop punk band practice, But all of our lyrics are very, very God-centric, which is powerful. And the kids... It makes me sad because they really do hate it. I mean, I'd like to sit here and tell you that they've turned the corner and they say, wow, when I say to them, look, Jesus, he would have been kick flipping on water, he could have turned the water into wine and then done a front side McTwist. He was cool. He was just as cool as all your favorite skate heroes. And these kids, they roll their eyes but still the point is it does keep them away from their phones, and then they are forced to listen to me. So yes. I like to think that somewhere that seed of Jesus's love is getting inside their dark little poison hearts somehow,
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Jesus was cool, is cool. I mean, if you took Tony Hawk and just gave him a little longer haircut, it could practically be Jesus.
That's absolutely right. Yes, and I said this right. It's like, and with my band, I say we're like if Jesus was playing bass for Green Day. It's right stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't. It's very strange to me how because I've always hated music, and I've always hated people who thought they were cool, people who collect vinyl, or people who have strange haircuts. Those people have always made me so angry. And then I thought to myself, well, if you can't beat them, join them and see what happens. So that's why I got this sort of asymmetrical new wave haircut I'm wearing.
I was going to ask about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in my Depeche Mode phase right now. I got some leather pants I've been doing, and do I feel like a clown? Of course I do. And every day do I look in the mirror and say, I wish I wasn't this person. But the fact is this is who God has sent me to be, it's the Trojan horse that I'm riding into the hearts of these little teenagers here.
And what were you doing before you sort of, I guess I can use the word transitioned into this new personality and hobby and all of this? Where were you working before?
Great. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful question, Greg. I was an accountant, so I did
really?
primarily, taxes for a lot of people here in town and things of that nature. And, pretty boring humdrum lifestyle, honestly. And I definitely preferred it. I definitely preferred it a lot.
And is that just because sometimes I feel like the nice thing about accounting is something like that is it's just if it doesn't add up, there's probably a mistake. You've got ones and twos and threes and fours and all the other numbers, and you're just putting them in columns. And if something doesn't add up, there must be a mistake. I'm sure right now you're dealing with teens who you're like, you're a number that's not even existed. Like you're probably not, you're just screwing up the whole equation. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, there was so much structure in that previous life. And now I look at these kids, you're exactly right. And I'm like, you're pi squared, the square root of who the heck knows? I don't even know what's going on with these children,
I have one pitch. Arthur Anderson was in Indianapolis. Can we? Because that's the one that like went under famously. The accounting firm Arthur Anderson. I think.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll ask you. Just say, they were like they were like they went belly up and like got federally like a bunch of people went to jail and stuff.
Were they like manipulating people's tax?
Totally. It was like all the bad stuff. Yeah, and so wait, where were you at? H&R Block or something like that?
No, thank you for asking. That's a beautiful question. I was with Arthur Anderson.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's not around anymore, is it?
Oh, that's right.
No, it's not. It was a beautiful, beautiful company with people that really, really cared. They were consistently doing this thing which we called Bleeding Uncle Sam, where our entire motive was to get as much money from the despicable black nightmare poison government and get it into the hands of the more affluent people here in town, and that went beautifully for a very, very long time. And then a lot of my really good friends ended up. Well,
Are you okay?
A lot of people that I really love are currently still serving time.
Oh no!
Yeah,
really?
It's so in a lot of ways I lost my family, and I've been dropped into this current sort of snake pit of non-believers. I don't know why. I don't know why this is my path, but here we are. Here we are.
Here's a tissue and here's a lozenge. Would you like a lozenge or a ginger chew?
Ooh, I'll take. Ooh, ooh, that's spicy. That's ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
here. Okay. Well, I just wanted to offer you a word basket of encouragement, Mike. I'm sure our prison ministry here at Twin Hills is visiting all your friends. And so they're hearing the good news of the gospel. And you know what? I think a lot of people really thrive in prison. They get into these programs where they learn different skills. They usually find Jesus, which is awesome, make some good friendships. And, they'll get out. Plus the white collar stuff. I don't think they're getting any of that, don't drop the soap nonsense and violence and all that. I'm sure your friends are having a good time. It might be like they're at camp.
I forgot about that. Don't drop the soap. That's such a funny one. It's because you'll be raped. I think is sort of what.
Yeah, humans are so funny with our turns of phrase. And it's when it's so descriptive that it just puts the image in your mind and you don't even have to say it.
Now, I did want to change subjects because, for obvious reasons, but I think there's something that you were also mentioning earlier, which was the names of some of these tricks that you do on a skateboard. Now, have you had to find a way to make those a little more Christ-like? Because I did notice that, I had a teen that was saying, I'm going to go grind. And immediately I thought, something is up. And I was really worried. They said no on a skateboard. And then I got doubly worried because I thought they were trying to have sex with a skateboard. But what I was wondering is, have you found ways to make these names of the tricks a bit more Christ-like?
That's beautiful. Yeah, well, okay, so here's the funny thing now. There is one trick called the Christ Air. This is not a joke. It was, it was popularized by skateboarder Christian Hosoi, who is currently, by the way, a follower of Christ and
great.
I'd love to have him here at the church. He does such a beautiful job. He'll proselytize it from the bottom of the deep end of the bowl. And he's so cool. He wears a fedora and he has tattoos. And
is the bowl the toilet?
no, such a beautiful question, Gray. No, it's so that's what they call the bottom of the half pipe down there. It's called.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see.
So this gentleman, so he popularized the Christ Air, and so that's the one that I actually personally find that. I actually don't like it being called the Christ Air because, again, I think that skateboarding is disgusting, and I almost don't like to have God's name.
I see.
I'm sullied by these tricks. So that's the one. But then there are other ones. It's harder than you think, and I think it's because these names come from such a dark, stupid place.
Yes.
That there's so much. There's such a world of ignorance behind this. I like to call it a sport. The kids tell me it's not a sport. They say sports are for jocks, where punk rock or hip hop or whatever.
I guess more of a lifestyle.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Beautiful way to say that. Yeah, more of a lifestyle, exactly right. And I say, okay, lifestyle. How about death style? Because the only life I've found is the light of the Lord that happens in my heart when I get on my knees and thank God for every single thing that I've experienced in my life.
I love that image.
That is awesome. That's an attitude of gratitude.
And do you find, just that idea of it being a sport? I mean, I don't think it's a sport for sure. You're basically standing on something and rolling around. But don't you think there's something a bit problematic with the idea that it's very solo, it's very individual, and as Christians we're called to be part of a community, a cloud of witnesses, as it were. And if you're just always out there by yourself on your little board, I mean, don't you feel like it's a bit catering to people who are loners and isolated and maybe don't want to fit in? And really, fitting in with other Christians is such an important idea.
Without a doubt. Yeah, it's anti-conformity, which makes me feel sick to even say it. I mean, these kids are one step away from being hobo drifters. They really are.
Well, they look like it.
They sure do look like it. I know, isn't it true? And here I am having to wear these clothes too. So the whole thing, it makes me sad. And honestly, if they had a little bit of sporting attitude, a little bit of competition, right? A little bit of I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I like to talk about, okay, maybe we gave these kids too many participation trophies, maybe one of those things, right? It's like, isn't that the truth? And these kids are so soft and whiny, and they don't like violence, and they don't want to think about the fact that this great man was slaughtered and in front of us for our sins. I love the violence in our religion. I think it's so powerful. I think about it all day long, about how someone like these kids, someone exactly like these little children, killed our Lord and Savior in the most violent way possible.
Well, violence is a great deterrent. And that's really one of the things that we need as Christians. There's hell. Sorry, them's the breaks, kids. If
right.
You know what I mean? And so, but you mentioned it earlier too. You got to have this look if you're going to be a skateboarder or whatnot. And you can't go out there looking like you're on the Geek Squad at Best Buy in some pleated khakis and a collared shirt. Well, first, two questions. One is, have you noticed people responding to you differently now that you have this get up and this look? How do people respond to you? Is it different?
Yeah, it's really hateful. And I think that's good. I think it should be. I'm walking in here. I'm dressed all like some kind of crazy rock and roller, like I think I'm Mick Jagger walking into the Coffee Bean or something. And, people, they sneer at me. They talk behind my back. They're very unloving. And again, I think that's how it should be.
Well, think about what happened to Jesus when he was dragging the cross down the Via Dolorosa, having a hard day as it was, and everyone was spitting at him, jeering at him, taunting at him. So you know what? You are connecting with Christ in those moments when people are being so hateful. And my follow-up question is, I understand that kids start to reach an age where they're like, oh, now I have to assert myself and find my own thing. Well, why do they have to do it by looking so ridiculous? Like, if you want to innovate, that's what you're going to rebel against is, our outfits that we've kind of all approved of and agreed on. That's how you're going to innovate. Why don't you do something that helps the planet, not making your hair look confusing?
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And the hair is so confusing, isn't it? And they love this too. They love to be like, "Oh, you can't tell if I'm a boy or a girl." Well, that's hard. It's hard for me.
Yeah, they're
I need to know if you're a boy or a girl.
Yes, it's destabilizing.
Exactly right. These I don't even want to get into the whole thing. I'm saying the whole gender, but that's the right thing. Every single one of the boys look like girls. The girls look, and they love it. They love when I get confused. They love it when I misgender them, as they call it. They love it. They live for it, so they can say, "Oh, you're not cool. You're not progressive." Well, you know what, you little brats? I don't want to be cool and progressive. I want to go to heaven. I would prefer not to burn until the end of time. That's what I'm looking to try and do.
And that is one of the songs that your band plays, right? I don't want to be cool and progressive.
That's exactly right. That's going to be the name of our new album. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the titular track from our new record. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, wonderful.
And what did happen? Because I did hear what did happen at the Coffee Bean the other week. Because my teens were saying, I guess that was another video that was going around.
Thank you for asking, Gray. That's a beautiful question. I've been trying to learn how to do some hip hop dancing, and because and what's new is hip hop, and apparently there are these b-boys, and they all did a lot of popping and locking and backspin and head spin and all these things. So I to try and show the kids that I was cool and progressive, even though I like to say that I don't want to be that. The truth is I kind of want these kids to think I'm cool. I went in there with a piece of cardboard, and I started doing head spins and top spins, and I accidentally hit one of the employees in the face. I kicked this woman in the face, and then I re-broke my elbow.
Oh no, the same elbow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, had you done that style of dancing before?
No, I just had watched the YouTube videos, and I went in and did it, and then I was just sobbing, and what's really embarrassing is that I said I turned against God in that moment.
Oh no!
I said, why Jesus have you forsaken me?
Yeah.
I no longer believe in you. The footage is really, really terrible. Yeah. I'm weeping. My eye makeup is dripping, and I'm sobbing, and I'm screaming, and I'm yelling at the coffee beans, and I'm calling them the devils, and I'm screaming at God. And
well, Mike, I feel like you were like Job, who got laid so low by all of the strife and the tumult that God had inflicted on his life to test his dedication. And you know what? I just think that C.S. Lewis says pain is our greatest teacher. And I'm so sorry about the elbow and that you cursed God, but you know what? His grace is sufficient, my brother.
Covered in the blood.
It's covered in the blood,
it was probably
my man.
literally covered in the blood.
Well, yeah, you were probably absolutely covered in blood. But yeah, I mean, again, you can relate to Christ. And I was going to bring this up earlier because skateboarding is such a dangerous activity, and most of the time these cool cats are too cool for the helmet and the wrist guards and the elbow pads and the knee pads and the shin guards and all of it. And so they end up with all these sprained ankles and skinned up knees and whatnot. But I think it's a beautiful opportunity to combine some of the ministries at our church. We have the healing ministry and we have the prayer ministry. So we could bring people over from the prayer ministry and the healing ministry, and they could lay hands on these kids when they roll an ankle or whatnot. And it'll be another way where we can show them the power that exists in believing.
That's such a beautiful. I would love that if y'all would come over and lay hands on some of these kids. I just am a little bit honestly worried that they're going to infect these other church members. That's my concern.
Yeah.
I mean, the power of prayer is as strong as the sun, but these kids, they're evil, truly, and they're saying things, their words they use. Glow up, that hits different, all these
consent. It's like, what are you talking about? Like that is a
Exactly
big
right.
one too. Before you let someone from the prayer ministry lay hands on you, you want to give them consent to innocently lay hands on you. Well, guess what? There's no consent in Christendom. We are here to devote ourselves to the authority of God. You know, Mary did not ask, God did not ask Mary for consent before putting a baby in her. You see where this is headed? Okay.
Thank you. I don't think any of us would be here if we were as concerned about consent as these kids are now. I think our entire culture has been all built on a lack of consent, and thank God, right? Christopher Columbus didn't get consent when he came to America, did he? And I don't know about you, but I like America.
See? It's
Me
God's
too.
chosen nation. It's blessed by God. We've got him on the dollar bill.
Well, something I do just want to say, Mike, I am definitely praying for you and your ministry. And I'm also I'm really thinking about how you found such a strong identity in Christ as a Christian. And that maybe, as you grow that, because you've really gone from, a guy who's an accountant to a guy who sort of looks like a skateboarder with a punk band. And now with dipping your toe into sort of the b-boy lifestyle, I guess that would explain the Kangol hat today and all that too. I just would hope, I guess, that my prayer for you is that you would be able to settle into an external identity that you actually love, and even like a bit, because right now it seems like you're really trying, it seems like you're really a martyr, because you're working so hard for these teens on the skateboards, but really for yourself, if you could be anything, really, what would it be?
Oh, beautiful question, Greg.
Wow. Well, if I could dress like anything, I'd go back to dressing the way I used to dress, which was pretty much exactly like Steve Jobs. That's kind of the look I'm sort of comfortable in, and yeah, I'd get rid of this earring, and I'd have this. I had this back tattoo I got removed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'd love to.
You got it removed?
No, I'd love to. If wish I could.
Oh, what's the back tattoo of? Oh, let me say. Oh, see you later, skater.
Oh, cool. That looks cool. That's huge. I
It
mean,
looks-
that's a lot of
I
ink.
laughed like an idiot. Wait.
Oh, it says see. Oh, could we see it?
Yeah.
See you later, skater on the lower back there.
That's a lot of ink. That's a 2-foot long tat.
Yeah, and then it's got on the bottom here. It's got Jesus. He's doing a 540 over the mega ramp, and he's high fiving Danny Way.
Oh,
He's
wow.
a professional skateboarder. I hate it.
It's almost like
I hate
he's
it so
jumping
much.
from one butt cheek to the other butt cheek. Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like sort of your, kind of like your bum crack is the crevasse that Jesus has to soar on over.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my disgusting lower body, which God hates, is sort of representative of an abyss, a loss.
I am really. It's one of the
Oh, and
first
it says-
questions.
And below that, I guess it says God's half pipe.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah, I don't like it. It cost me $900, and it was excruciating, and I'd love to get it removed. I feel.
Wow. Well, that is going to be one of the very first questions I asked God when I walked through those pearly gates is why on earth did you give us such dirty private parts on our body? It really is so distressing. I mean, to just have these parts of us that are intrinsically disgusting, sinful. You can't even hardly look at them. Honestly, if you ask me, it's hard to even see, let alone know that they exist down there in our underwears. It's really discouraging.
I know. I've lost days and weeks to my inability to forget that we all have them. Sometimes I can't leave. You know what I mean? I can't go into a pizza restaurant if I'm remembering in everybody's pants is what looks like the arm of an octopus, or you know what I mean? Whatever kind of nightmare sea creature exists, it's awful.
Absolutely. I mean, after I saw myself down there one time, the first time I was given birth, I haven't been able to eat clams on the half shell ever since.
Hallie.
Anytime my husband Lance Labatt and I go out east, I can't even enjoy a clam on a half shell.
Is there some stupid thing that some clam joke or something that we could all like die laughing again as a button, because that's such a stupid bit that we all just think are funny joke.
Does that scan like as a pussy look?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
okay.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there just something like that we could all
or is there a good callback?
Yeah, that's what, or just something like do that stupid like us all cracking up at.
Yeah.
Like a.
Oh yeah, but it
yeah.
should come from Mike again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's see.
Like an accountant joke or something.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the one thing, and this is one thing I was thinking is that my next, what do you call it? Like, I'm gonna be speaking to the kids on Wednesday or something.
Oh, like message, you would say, like my next message.
Yeah, my next message is gonna be titled "Let Jesus Slide into Your DMs."
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Yeah. Wait, and do you have any more that you came up with that we should run through and give them all a shot?
What I'm currently looking at is a list of millennial slang.
We're so old.
Yeah, maybe I'll just say like, well, we don't need to hear about that, Hallie. Well, yeah, or something like that, and then we can be like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we
Okay.
don't need to hear anything more about that, Hallie. And I do want to say, Mike, thank you so much. What can people be looking forward to when it comes to what's going on at Heaven is a Halfpipe?
Yeah, so this Wednesday, I'm going to be giving a brand new message. It's a speech I've been working on for a long time, and it's called, you guys are going to love this. It's called, Hey, why don't you let Jesus slide into your DMs?
Awesome.
That's really
Can you imagine?
okay. Yeah. Really have fun, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we do. I try to. I mean, things are dark. You got to laugh, you know?